Okay, in this video I'm going to show you how to make the bottom and the top of your box. First you're going to start with preparing the paper. In order to prepare the paper, you are going to need 2 sheets of photocopy paper, 8.5 by 11, a ruler, scissors, and a pencil. If you happen to have paper that's 9 by 12, you could just make your box 9 by 9 and then do 8.5 and 8, for the second one. So basically what you're going to do is create 2 squares. And the way that you're going to do that is you start by taking your paper and you want to go to the corner, and then you just want to sort of follow your finger down there along the edge to create a sharp triangle. What you want to make sure is that it's lined up on the tip and it's lined up on the edge. Okay? And then you can just sort of reinforce the crease with your finger. Once that's done, you might find it helpful to take this sheet, the part here, and fold it up so it looks a little like a sailboat. And this is just going to help you be able to cut off the extra. I usually bend it back and forth so it creates a little indent, which makes it easier for me to then open it up and draw the scissors along that line. So I'm going to just start cutting this so that I'm removing that extra paper. And I'm sort of pushing the blade of the scissors along there to cut that away. All right, so now this will be the top of my box, okay? And this one is 8.5 by 8.5, okay? The bottom of the box has to be a 1/2 inch smaller so that it easily fits inside. So you want it to fit easily inside of the cover. And so you're going to follow the same step that you did for the first one. Lining up the corners, following it along the edge, make sure that there's no overlap. And then again, I find it easier to fold this up so that I can know exactly where the edge is, and that's lining that up along the edge there. Okay, and then I'm also going to fold it back so that I can see that line a little bit more carefully. And then once again, I'm going to take the scissors, sort of unfold it, take the scissors, and just follow that line so that it is as straight as I can make it, right? So I'm just going to cut that up, following it along like so. Alright, so now I have 2 8.5 by 8.5 squares, but what I need is, I need this one to be 8 by 8. So what I'm going to do is come along the edge here, and I am going to line it up over here on the edge, and I'm going to line it up on 8 on the edge. And then what that's doing is it's making sure that whatever I cut off is on the side with the rougher edge. And then I'm going to take my pencil and I am going to mark off a 1/2 inch. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing down at the bottom. Start with 8, line it up, mark off that beginning of the inch, which would be a 1/2 inch, but you can just go like that. And then you want to just draw a line, because once again, this is going to be where you cut. So you can go like this, draw your line. And if you have the ruler there, sometimes it's helpful to just draw your hand along the bottom edge to make that a little bit sharper. So now I'm going to go and do the same thing over on this side. I'm going to start here, lining it up. I'm going to mark off 8. Okay, so like I'm making sure that it's 8 inches. I'm going to do the same thing here. And notice that I'm cutting away the edge that I cut with the scissors so that I can just make sure that I have my smoothest edges there. I don't want to create another edge that may not be completely straight. So I'm going to just make sure that that's the one I'm cutting away. Draw my line, come in here, again underneath the ruler, And then that makes it easier for me to have like a little indentation. And then basically I'm going to cut away the excess. So I'm just going to follow the line and cut it away. So, and as you're thinking about the topic for your box, you're going to start thinking about colors that you associate with your topic. So if you were doing a special place and that place was Hawaii, you could think about the colors that make you think of the tropics. So you might want to consider a lot of warm colors. All right, so now I have, if you look here, I have 8.5, and then I have 8, and so you can see that this one is slightly smaller than the top one. Okay, the larger one is going to be your cover. So think about how you want your cover to look, and keep in mind that whatever is in the center here is going to be in the center of the box. So this is going to fold over, and basically the top of your box will be in this area, and then the rest is all going to fold around. So if you do pick up the materials that I recommended, or you have, if you picked them up from me, or you're going to have your own, what you need to do is make sure that you have some kind of a glue. If you use the Mod Podge, which is what I gave you, what that's going to do is it's going to allow you to have a nice clear and shiny covering. So I'm going to just pour some of this in here. Yours will come in a small little container. But I'm going to just put it in here, and then what I'm going to do is select the colors that I want to put here. Now, I could make this a magazine collage. So I'm going through a National Geographic, and I'm going to make I could cut different pictures and make this a collage. I could take an old book, and I could like rip out the text and create a pattern with the text. You could use wrapping paper, but in this case, what I'm going to do is use the tissue, which I have some that is more opaque, and if you get a kit from me, you have some that's more opaque, and then you also have stuff that's a little bit more transparent. So what I'm going to do is like pick a color scheme and then just rip my paper into shapes. I could also cut this if I wanted it to be stripes or something like squares or something like that. I could do that, but I'm going to just do more of a random pattern, and I'm going to have it start with light in the middle and then gradually go to the dark. So I'm going to start with my lighter color first, and I'm just going to rip it up into pieces. And I am going to, and this is going to be the important thing that you need to remember, is you're going to go glue, paper, glue, glue, paper, glue. Because what that's going to do is it's really going to allow you to get nice, vibrant color. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm just going to start in the center, and I'm going to put down my first piece of paper. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to start with my light in the middle. Sometimes it bleeds out a little bit, but that's okay. I'm going to just like go in there, and as long as there's glue underneath, so if you think about the glue as your bread in a sandwich, you want to go bread and then the cheese and then some more bread on top, right? So you're just doing a little bit of overlaying the paper on top of the glue, and then the glue on top of the paper, okay? So I'm going to just come in here, and then I want to add a little bit more light here. And you can see as it's going down that you are seeing an overlay of the color that's underneath. So when it doubles up, because the glue is making it a little bit more translucent, you're going to see an overlay of those edges, and it adds a nice visual texture. So if I felt that that transition was too strong, I could just add a little piece on here and then make that a gradual transition to the darker tone, right? So you can just overlay it as much as you want, okay? And basically what you'll do is just fill in the page. So I'm just going to do this, and then in the video I'll fast forward it. So once you have covered the entire piece of paper, you will let it dry, and then you'll be ready to fold it into the top of your box.